Gun control is a very controversial topic. The reason why it is so controversial is because as we continue to advance as a society, we find ourselves in the dilemma whether our original Constitution principles still stand today. Inquiring on that stance, we first must we must first determine whether the Second Amendment should be changed or continue to remain, and for what purpose. Secondly, we must take a deep psychological analysis on gun ownership and determine if those mentally stable should own a gun and how extreme of a process one must go through in obtaining a gun license. The Second Amendment is a The Second Amendment in the Constitution is as follows: a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. In the Second Amendment of the Constitution, we know that the right to bear arms shall not be revoked or tampered with. Due to it being an amendment of the U.S. Constitution, we understand that adjusting it would be improbable as it would have to follow a strenuous process. A proposed amendment must pass through Congress first, in which both the House and the Senate must allow it with a two-thirds majority. Then three-fourths of the state must ratify the amendment in order for it to be repealed. The last time and only time an amendment was repealed was the 18th Amendment in 1933. An example is this is the case of District of Columbia versus Heller, where it appears to be the first Supreme Court case to evaluate the Second Amendment. In 2008, in the court case of District of Columbia v. Heller, the United States Supreme Court, in a 5 to 4 decision, for the first time held that the Second Amendment granted an individual right to possess and to the right to own and possess a firearm unconnected to service in militia. This demonstrates that we cannot remove or tamper with it to an extent without some severe backlash. In spite of all the factors that cause gun-related deaths, we must accept that the people who distribute these guns decide the regulations and are ultimately the ones to blame for pulling the trigger. Guns cannot be blamed for this, being an inanimate object that require a person to pull the trigger. Osman and Faria. So maybe when considering gun control, we can find the root of our problems lie within accessibility and emotional distress. We know that if someone cannot easily access a gun, they will impulsively buy, purchase, and use one. Furthermore, if someone has has a history related to violence or some record, we can infer that this person may not be capable of handling a gun. Indeed, of all mental symptoms considered, only impulsivity was associated with gun carrying, and only hostility was associated with threatening someone with a gun. A strength of the present study is that it examined the joint effects of gun access and mental health and found that access to guns was especially strong in predicting gun carrying and threatening someone with a gun, even after controlling for demographic characteristics prior to mental health treatment and mental symptoms. This finding has an important implication for gun control policy efforts. Liu and Temple. Therefore, as a collaborative society, we must find a better solution to help these troubled individuals and prevent such horrendous acts, such as facilitating mental health access and applying stricter regulations on impulse firearm purchases. I believe if we had a safer environment and a well-regulated system for how people are able to gain access to a gun, the world would be a safer place. For example, everyone should have a mandatory background check, which would include a thorough background of fights, law violations, suspensions, etc., which would disqualify someone from purchasing a firearm. I also believe that more officers should be patrolling areas like school grounds or areas with large amounts of people like a concert, etc. I want to believe that eventually states will be on similar pages but still remain diverse as ever. Creating a good environment and expanding our knowledge, no matter how controversial, will build a better society and make improved regulated gun control system.